Marcus Chun had been eating alone in the Nexus Station cafeteria for 3 standard years. Same corner table, same synthetic protein ration, same view of the massive viewport displaying the swirling nebula beyond. The other species gave him a wide berth, not out of malice, but out of uncertainty. Humans were still relatively new to the Galactic Coalition, and their reputation preceded them in ways both fascinating and terrifying. The Zephyrians whispered about human endurance how they could work 20-hour shifts without stimulants. The crystalline Kelthax marveled at human adaptability, their ability to jury-rig solutions from incompatible technologies. The gas-dwelling Vortex spoke in hushed tones about human unpredictability, their tendency to attempt repairs that any sensible being would declare impossible. Marcus didn't mind the isolation. After 12 years as a deep space mechanic, he'd grown comfortable with solitude. His hands, permanently stained with hydraulic fluid and quantum lubricants, told stories of impossible fixes and miraculous resurrections of dead starships. He was good at his job, perhaps too good. Word traveled fast in the space station, and his growing reputation made other mechanics nervous. On this particular day, as Marcus methodically consumed his nutrient paste while reviewing schematics on his tablet, a shadow fell across his table. He looked up to see a being he'd never encountered before, tall, with iridescent skin that shifted between blue and silver, and eyes like liquid mercury. "May I?" the stranger asked, gesturing to the empty chair across from Marcus. Marcus nodded, surprised. In 3 years, no one had ever asked to join him. The being sat gracefully, extending a hand that seemed to flow rather than move. "I am Zixtara of the Confluence. I have heard much about your work, Marcus Chun," he replied, shaking the offered hand. "It felt like cool water. Human mechanic, level 7 certification." "Modest," Zixtara observed, a sound like wind chimes, indicating amusement. "I have spoken with Captain Vexandra of the Stellar Wanderer. She tells me you repaired her quantum drive with nothing but spare parts from a food processor and sheer determination." Marcus shrugged. The quantum resonance frequency was off by 0.03%. The food processor had a harmonic stabilizer. That could be recalibrated. Simple physics. Simple? Zixtara's skin shimmered brighter. The Stellar Wanderer had been declared irreparable by 17 different engineers across 9 species. They all said the quantum matrix was corrupted, beyond salvation. "They were thinking inside the box," Marcus said, returning to his meal. "Sometimes you need to break a few rules." Over the following weeks, Zixtara became a regular dining companion. The being was endlessly curious about human problem-solving methods, asking questions that made Marcus examine his own thought processes. Why do humans attempt repairs that others deemed impossible? Why did they see solutions where others saw only problems? "It's not that we're smarter," Marcus explained during one of their conversations. "We just don't accept limitations the same way. When someone tells us something can't be done, we hear it as a challenge rather than a fact." "But surely you must fail sometimes?" Marcus grinned. "All the time. But we learn from failure. Every broken attempt teaches us something new about what doesn't work, which gets us closer to what does." Their friendship deepened when Zixtara revealed the true reason for their interest. The Confluence, an ancient species known for their technological mastery, was facing an unprecedented crisis. Their homeworld's primary power source, a massive quantum generator that had operated flawlessly for millennia, was failing. Their greatest minds had spent decades trying to repair it, but the technology was so old, so integrated into the planet's core systems, that any mistake could be catastrophic. "We are facing extinction," Zixtara admitted quietly. "Our world will die, and we lack the ships to evacuate even a fraction of our population. We have exhausted every conventional solution." Marcus was quiet for a long moment, studying his friend's shifting features. "Show me the schematics." 3 days later, Marcus found himself aboard a Confluence vessel, traveling toward their homeworld. The ship itself was a marvel living metal that responded to thought, energy conduits that pulsed like arteries, technology so advanced it seemed like magic. Yet despite all their sophistication, the Confluence faced the same problem that plagued civilizations across the galaxy. They had become so specialized, so reliant on established methods, that they couldn't think outside their own paradigms. The quantum generator was a sight to behold, a crystalline structure the size of a city, buried deep within the planet's crust. It drew energy from the planet's core and distributed it through a network of impossible complexity. Marcus spent hours studying the readings, the failure patterns, the desperate repair attempts of Confluence engineers. "Your people keep trying to fix the generator," he finally said to the assembled council of Confluence elders. "But the generator isn't broken. It's evolved." The council exchanged confused glances, their skin patterns shifting to colors Marcus couldn't interpret. "Explain," requested the eldest, her voice like distant thunder. "This generator has been running for thousands of years. Quantum systems don't remain static. They adapt, they grow, they develop new resonance patterns. Your generator has essentially become a different machine than the one your ancestors built. You're trying to fix it using outdated parameters." Marcus pointed to the fluctuation patterns on the display. "See these spikes? They're not errors. They're the generator trying to communicate. It's evolved beyond your current understanding, and it's trying to tell you what it needs." What followed was the most complex repair of Marcus's career. Instead of forcing the generator back into its original configuration, he worked with the Confluence engineers to establish a new symbiotic relationship with the evolved system. They created adaptive interfaces that could respond to the generator's changing needs, feedback loops that allowed the system to communicate its requirements. It took 6 months of constant work, countless failures, and several near disasters. But gradually, the generator stabilized. More than that, it began producing 30% more energy than its original specifications, powering not just the Confluence homeworld, but enabling them to construct the evacuation fleet they had thought impossible. When Marcus finally returned to Nexus Station, he found his corner table waiting for him. But he was no longer alone. Word of the Confluence repair had spread throughout the coalition, and suddenly every species wanted to understand how humans approach problems differently. Zixtara still joined him for meals, but now they were often accompanied by Kelthax, engineers seeking to understand adaptive thinking, Voitic technicians curious about human intuition, and Zephyrian scientists fascinated by the human tendency to see patterns where others saw chaos. Marcus didn't mind the company. As he watched the diverse group debate impossible solutions and theoretical repairs, he realized something profound. Humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't their technology or their strength. It was their willingness to fail, to try the impossible, and to see every breakdown as an opportunity for breakthrough. In a universe full of species who had mastered their respective technologies, humans brought something irreplaceable: the audacity to believe that any problem could be solved, any system could be improved, and any impossibility was just a challenge waiting for the right perspective. And sometimes, that was exactly what the galaxy needed.